It's not always easy to hail a cab in New York City. Well, Mayor de Blasio and the city council want to find out if part of the problem is you're being judged on the color of your skin. John Shumo has all the details. John, what are they doing?
Bill, if you ask a person of color if they've been passed by when trying to hail a taxi in New York City, you're likely to hear a story or two or 10. I've witnessed it myself on several occasions. The city's Taxi and Limousine Commission has tried to curb service refusal for years. Nothing's really worked. So now it is creating the Office of Inclusion. The goal is to develop stronger anti-discrimination training for drivers and to encourage passengers to report the ones who refuse to pick them up. The training, by the way, would apply to yellow taxis and e-hail companies like Uber and Lyft. According to the TLC, yellow cab drivers were hit with 1,834 complaints last year. Another 343 were filed against e-hail drivers. Of course, that doesn't take into account the countless incidents that weren't reported because, frankly, the process is tedious. First, you have to call 311, file your report. Then you have to be interviewed on the phone. Then if the driver refutes your claim, which is likely, you have to appear in person at an office in Queens and give up some time at work. No word if that process will become easier with this new Office of Inclusion, but you can expect to see some public service announcements for passengers in the coming weeks. In a statement, TLC Chair Meera Joshi said service refusal in general and bias-based refusal in particular is a terrible experience for its victims. It is visceral, hurtful, and just wrong. Bill, as it exists now, if a driver is found guilty through this process, they receive a $500 fine for a first offense. A second offense is a $1,000 fine. Same with a third offense. If you're caught doing this a fourth time, you're likely to lose your driver's license. That's the story, Bill. Back to you.
What's the percentage? Because it would seem to me the number of times people are hailing cabs, etc., it's probably going to be in the millions.
Yeah, and it is. But here's the important point that the officials acknowledge the fact that this happens far more likely than the times it is actually reported. So the 1,800 is a mere drop in the bucket. Yellow taxi drivers, by the way, will acknowledge doing this because when they take a fare up to northern Manhattan, the South Bronx, they will not be able to get a fare that returns back to Midtown, for example. So they lose money when they have to take somebody far out of the central business district.
All right, thanks, John. I'm going to bring in our A-plus panel for tonight. We're joined by Afia Yunus, immigration attorney. Good to see you, Afia.
You too, Bill.
Matt Rooney back with us. He is the publisher of the Save Jersey blog and a Jersey attorney. Good to see you, Matt. Great to be here, Bill. All right, Afia, I'm going to start with you. I think what John just said had a huge impact. I actually was thinking something else and might have something to do with neighborhoods and crime and fear. But money, you want to be able to get that return fare. What do you say?
I think a lot of it could be true that it's money, but I don't buy it for most of the time. I do think there is implicit bias when it comes to picking up someone who might be a black or brown person as opposed to someone who's white in a business suit. I do think that 1,800 is a significant number considering how arduous the process is. So I think this needs to be done. In the line of work that Afia and I are in, we're lawyers. It's called assuming facts that are not in evidence. We don't know how many of these complaints are legitimate. Also, about 1,800 in a city where there's probably about 10 million or more cabs called every year. Is there even really a problem? This is classic big liberalism. Let's create a government office, let's politicize an issue, and use it to win votes, whether or not it's actually going to ever solve a problem. Right,
Afia, to that point, why not just go to NYU and say, guys, can you do a study for us for free and we'll put some kids on it? Like, why do we, now we have a Department of Inclusion where we don't even know yet that we have an actual systemic problem.
But you guys are ignoring the fact that the cabbies actually admitted to the problem. Whether the motivation is money or race, the impact is happening on a particular
But what is a
community.
new government office going to do to actually enforce something? There's already laws on the book to prohibit discrimination.
Well, first of all, we need to do research, right? Which both of you are agreeing with. The research needs to be done by this agency, and they need to figure out how many people are actually being denied based on their race.
Follow the money, right? Liberalism
Every time.
will always, big spenders in government will always find a problem that they got to spend money to solve.